Dan Jenkins here with Ecologic Designs and Green Guru here. We're in Boulder, Colorado at the Boulder Rock Club, and we're with Mike Alkaitis. Mike, can you tell us a little bit about your climbing career? When did you start climbing?
Absolutely. I started climbing when I was 10 years old in the Gumps of New York, and so I've climbed for 30 years around the country in Alaska. For a long time, guided for about 10 years, and then I was also the executive director for the American Mountain Guides Association for 8 years.
So you're currently at the Boulder Rock Club. Can you tell us a little about what your relationship is with the Boulder Rock Club and what do you do for the Colorado Mountain School here?
Yeah, I'm the general manager for both the Colorado Mountain School and the Boulder Rock Club, which basically means I oversee all of our programs, initiatives, climbing indoors, guiding outdoors.
Excellent. So in those types of situations, you're working with a lot of the equipment and gear. Today we're here specifically to talk about rope care and rope maintenance. So one of the things is that we want to do is have a little bit of a familiarity with some of the things that would be a way to increase a rope's lifespan, or when a rope gets to a point where you look at it and you say, hey, this is really not something that I would feel comfortable putting my life into at this point. Could you give us a little bit of information about what are some of the things that people are looking for in terms of rope care and rope safety?
Yeah, some of the things that you can do to save a rope is a rope bag. Pretty simple thing. It's where you can put your rope into a tarp, it rolls up, goes into a bag, and that'll protect it from things like, what's the worst for a rope? Battery acid.
Okay.
Would be an obvious thing. It's very bad for a rope.
Okay, so you're going to throw it in the back of your car. Sometimes you just, instead of tossing it in, have it in some type of a container, so in case there might be some other chemical that might spill out, I think a Gatorade or even something as toxic as gas, battery acid, some other type of thing to protect it.
Exactly.
Great suggestion.
And then on the other hand, the sort of thing you don't think about is just dirt. Dirt can get into the rope, you use the rope, you rappel on the rope, you play with the rope, it gets inside the sheath into the core, and then sort of slowly starts breaking that down. So instead of throwing your rope out into the dirt, if you have a rope bag or a tarp or anything to really do, or put it on a rock, that'll enable you to keep the rope slightly.
So a rope bag can perform multi-purposes, both for transport and then also when you get to the climbing site, it can be something that can increase the lifespan of the rope. Excellent. So when you're looking at something like dirt or those other types of things that are natural to the environment where you're climbing outside, getting into there, what are some other maintenance things? Is there any way to potentially even just do a simple washing of the rope, or a way in which to do that?
You can do a simple washing of the rope. It's simple might be a little strong since it'll be involved. You get to use a bathtub, you have to find the right kind of detergent for your rope, because obviously a detergent would be a chemical on the rope, so they make special ones for cleaning your rope. What works the best really is just water.
Okay, so just washing it out with some water and then just getting any of that residual dirt that might be in it.
Right, and hang dry it, not in the sun, in a dry area in the shade or inside a garage or something, because UV rays are damaging to the rope.
Okay, so the sun and the other elements, there's some things besides just the basic dirt like we're talking about or having exposed. What are some other things that might decrease in the lifespan of a rope besides, you said the UV with the sun? Other considerations.
Well, if you fall,
okay,
you'll rub on a carabiner, you'll get where it'll actually start fraying your rope. You may get a core shot on your rope, which is where you fall and your rope goes across the edge, and it sort of goes in a little slicing action, and that goes through the sheath. If you can ever see like the white core of a rope, that's bad.
Okay.
Something. If your rope just over time can hurt a rope. I don't know the studies exactly, but I know that they've studied nylon over 1 year, 2 year, 5 year span, and the strength of it goes down substantially without any use but just time.
Okay, so one of the things is that each manufacturer has specifications on the rope, so it would be fair to say that you should check the manufacturer's specs when you invest in your rope, and then at a certain period of time, it would be wise to then maybe make a reinvestment so that from a safety standpoint.
Yeah, and a lot of it depends on how often you climb, what kind of use it is, but I would recommend calling the manufacturer, emailing the manufacturer, so that you can get a good, honest answer at that point. And if you're ever in doubt, don't use the rope until you're not in doubt.
Okay, great. And one of the considerations that we have here in the Boulder Rock Club is that the ropes themselves are being used by other people. So talk to us a little bit about the usage of ropes in a situation like this at the lifespan.
Okay, we have our ropes, we have lead ropes and we have top ropes. The lead ropes are a standard dynamic rope from Sterling. And we found those to last the longest, and they'll last about 4 weeks in our environment in here. And the way they get wear and tear is from falls. So people fall, and that same section of rope goes across the carabiner over and over and over again. And it'll start to fray in there, or it'll go all the way to a core shot. And we try and retire it well before it gets to the core shot. But every once in a while it'll catch something, and then we retire it.
Okay, so you guys are maintaining and monitoring ropes on a regular basis.
Yep.
Are you also relying upon the members to be able to give you information, because they're the ones that are obviously using the ropes on a fairly regular basis?
Yep, they'll use it, they'll come back, they'll say this rope's really stiff, this rope's really mushy, this one has is frayed right here. So we rely a lot on them to sort of give us the feedback so we can check and see if it's
So you've just mentioned several different telltale signs. You mentioned fraying, so that there might be fraying on the end of the rope, maybe the solder that happened when the rope was cut because you're pulling it off with a long spool. You also mentioned that it gets a little bit stiff. Tell us a little bit about the mushiness. What's happening there with the rope?
The rope is actually breaking down inside the sheath, so the sheath goes around the core, and you can't see it.
Okay.
But when you feel it, it'll feel like a sponge.
Okay.
So you'll squeeze and it won't, you feel a new climbing rope and it'll have some resistance to it. You'll still be able to push your fingers in, but then this will feel just like a big sponge.
Okay, great. So the sheath has actually started to slip a little bit, and so the middle part is actually a little bit too flexible.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to decrease the safety level of it. You might want to look at your rope from one end to the other and decide if it's time to retire the rope.
Right.
All right. Any other considerations for rope care and rope safety in terms of when a climber is out and trying to do the very best of what you can do to make sure that you get the lifespan out of the rope?
You want to, I mean, the easiest thing is take care of your rope.
Okay.
You know, use a rope bag, be considerate of it, so don't just walk all over it.
Okay.
And if it goes over an inch, try and make sure you look at it. One thing when you go climbing that many people know climbers is when you flake a rope, you're sort of running it through your hands, and that's a great time to just inspect your rope and see.
Perfect. So at the beginning of the day, before you're ever even climbing, you can make a decision there whether or not your rope is still in good shape before you actually make your set.
Exactly.
All right, good. Those were all great suggestions.